We hope you enjoy listening to this weekly podcast from LifeLine Church. You can find out more and discover our other podcasts by searching for LifeLine Church, visiting lifelinechurch.co.uk, or by taking a look at our YouTube channel, LifeLine Church Dagenham.
For you kids, is this the first baptism you're going to ever see? Put your hands up if you've never seen a baptism before. All right, so a few of you, because you know what we've had to do? When we used to use Mayfield, we couldn't use a baptism. There was no baptism pool in Mayfield. So we used to have to go out in the evening after you guys went to sleep and borrow a different building. But now we've got our own one. We could do it whenever we want. And we could do it however we want. And so that's why we wanted to do things a bit differently today. But I wanted to explain to you what we understand baptism to be about. So in a little bit, people are going to get dunked underwater, and we're going to watch that happen. It's often been described as the happiest funeral you ever get to go to. Okay, so usually funerals are pretty sad, right? Because it's someone that's left us. But these people are leaving bits of themselves, but they're becoming more of themselves by the time they come out the water. And I'm going to explain a little bit about that. First question I've got for you guys to talk to the person next to you. What is the dirtiest you have ever been? Have you ever been that dirty? Talk to the person next to you, and if maybe if your parents are next to you, they will help you remember when you've been that dirty. So who thinks they were the muddiest? Heath, when were you the dirtiest? Do you remember? Tell me. What were you covered in? Mud. Was it from your garden or were you somewhere else? When were you muddiest? In the garden, okay, all right. Where were you muddiest? In your house? Oh, poor mum and dad. That's tough going. All right. Anna, when were you dirtiest? Hainault Forest. Oh, okay, all right. Well, we've got some pictures of when some of you guys have been your dirtiest. I think, Anna, that's not mud. What happened to you? A colour festival, that's awesome. Next time I want to come. I want to come to the Colour Festival. Okay. What have you found there, John? Soda cream. Did it taste as good as it looks? Huh? Well, it's not just when you're young you get dirty. In that top picture, that was me and Daniel Jones, and we were youth leaders at the time. We were meant to be responsible. I decided he was too clean after doing the assault course, so I helped him out. And that bottom picture there, that's Arthur, that's my son. And what you get when you get pictures of this, what you've got to stop and realize is the parent took a picture before they helped the child out of the mud. Now, we had to take all of his clothes off and put his spare clothes on, and we put it all in a plastic bag, and we tied the plastic bag because it smelt bad. You know what we did? We forgot about it for a week. And when we opened the bag, it stunk out the house, so we just had to throw all the clothes away. So, you know, the Bible talks about us being dirty, and what it actually means is us having done wrong things that makes us dirty, and that's called sin. And you might recognize some of these pictures from when you guys looked at the Garden of Curtain and the cross. And these are certain things that we can do to one another which makes us dirty. And so stealing and upsetting or just having our hearts broken by people or saying mean things to one another. So often we can feel dirty after we've done wrong things. Do you know what that's called when you feel dirty because you've done something wrong? Do you know a word for that? So there's a word that we use called guilt. So even afterwards you feel bad. Has anyone ever felt guilty? You're like, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't done that. And sometimes you can feel so guilty, you actually feel shame, which is not just I've done something bad, but I am someone bad, okay? And those things are really bad. It makes you feel really dirty. My brother, Nathan, my parents bought him a penknife. And he wanted to see how sharp this penknife was. So in his bedroom, he cut a hole in the middle of the carpet. It was not a smart thing to do. He didn't really think about the consequences, but then afterwards he felt so dreadful. He felt really guilty afterwards. And he said sorry to my mum and dad, and they said, "That's fine, it was a silly thing to do, but you're forgiven." But he still felt guilty for years afterwards. It was like it was heavy on him, and it was hanging on to him all of that time. And you know, all of these bad things that we do, the Bible calls it sin, but all the little things of sin are actually the result of one single sin. And that single sin is us putting ourselves on the throne. Yeah? It's when we try and be where God belongs. That's where all of the bad stuff we do actually comes from. We decide we want to be in charge. We want to be the boss. So sin is putting myself where God belongs. The good news that we have is salvation. So being set free, being rescued, is when Jesus put himself where we belong. And that's what we get to celebrate as followers of Jesus, that even though I put myself where he belongs, he put himself where I belong, because I should have been punished for all the bad things that I've done, but he was punished in my place. You see, when Jesus lived, he didn't do anything wrong. He never tried to take God's throne. He emptied himself of everything. He lived exactly as he should have lived. He never sinned, so he didn't have a reason to die. But because Jesus loves you so much, he wanted you to be free from all of that guilt, of all that dirt, of all that sin. And so he took it all onto himself when he was on the cross. So that sin was attached to him. And when he died, you remember he went into a tomb. It's like he took the sin with him into the tomb. And when he was risen from the dead, there was no sin anymore. He had dealt with it. And so when we're talking about baptism, in the same way, we realize we've got sin attached to us. We're dirty. There's things sometimes even on the inside. But when we realize that Jesus died for us, we can enter into what he had. We can die with him. Because of what he has done, we can be free from our sin. And it talks about that in the Bible, in a book called Romans 6. It talks about just as Jesus died, we can die. And just as Jesus rose up again, we can rise up again and be free from all of our sin. So does this mean that I'm never going to do selfish things? I'm never going to do anything wrong? Probably not. I probably will still make mistakes and do bad things, but I don't have to anymore because I'm choosing to live in the freedom that God has given me. This is why we get baptized. The Lego man's thinking, why get baptized? So some of the answers, Aidan's just saying to me, we get baptized to get clean again. Good. Children, any other reasons why we might get baptized? Wash away our sins. To give your life to Jesus. These are excellent answers. All right, here's the ones that I've got. So the first one I said is, I realize I've sinned and I want to be changed. I can't do it myself. I need him to change me. But it's that point where you realize, oh, not only am I dirty on the outside, I'm dirty on the inside. There's something that God has shown me about myself because he's inviting me to be free. I believe that Jesus has truly dealt with my sin. He took it to the grave. The past, the present, the future, all of it, he's dealt with it. Because he's dealt with it, I get baptized because I want to choose to believe that's the way through. I want to spend the rest of my life recognizing that he is king, letting him have the throne, not putting myself in that place. So that means I'm letting Jesus rule everything in my life. And also, Jesus told us to get baptized as well. Now, guys, do you remember you went on a day away? Was that back in November? In November? Yeah? Now, some of you made that decision at that point that you wanted Jesus to be Lord, wanted to be the boss. Is that the right language? Yeah? Well, baptism's one of the steps in that process to say, yeah, I really want you to be king, and I'm getting off the throne. I'm leaving you to be in the throne. I'm going to live the rest of my life letting you be king. So I thought now it would be good to meet some of the people that are getting baptized and hear from them. So Alicia's getting baptized. So, Alicia, why are you getting baptized?
So, when it was announced on Sunday there was going to be baptisms, I was, unsure, and I didn't know if I wanted to get baptized or not. And then I had a dream that I got baptized, and I felt like I was ready.
Okay, God's speaking to us in dreams. And we believe something miraculous happens at the point of being baptized. It's not because the water's special. It's just out the tap. You could drink water that comes out the tap. Don't drink that water, because we've made it even cleaner. But there's nothing special about the water. What is special is about what God does inside of us at that moment of baptism. So what are you hoping God does in you during the moment of baptism?
So I want to have more patience and peace and have, increased my faith.
Excellent. And you're making the decision to make Jesus king. What do you think that is going to look like for you on a daily basis?
So I want to have him to trust in him more and let him take charge of my choices and decisions.
Great. Thank you very much, Alicia. All right. Dan. Where's Dan? Right. While Dan's coming, I'm going to read you what Ruby shared. So Ruby's getting baptized. And she said, I want to get baptized because I felt God speak to me through a dream. Oh, interesting. Another dream. Since then, it felt like something I needed to do. I'm still figuring out my faith and learning more about God, but I know it gives me purpose and helps me feel like my life means something. It reminds me that no matter what happens, God has a plan for me and that I'm not alone. Getting baptized feels like the right next step in my faith and in who I'm becoming. That's great. Okay, Dan, why are you getting baptized?
So I was brought up in a Christian family, so baptism, publicly declaring my faith, seemed like a standard thing. But it didn't really feel like a personal choice of mine that I actually wanted to get baptized. It just felt like one day I'd get baptized. But growing up and having children, over the last 10 years or so, I felt like it's one thing reading the Bible and believing in the Bible, but it's another thing actually following what God wants you to do. So that's why I decided to follow God.
Great. Thank you very much, Dan. That's great. It's good to hear direct from the people. Now, here's a little illustration that I'm going to pull together that hopefully will all work. All right. Here's my baptismal pool. Okay, this is a small version. And inside this box, I'm going to introduce you to Jerry. This is Jerry. Now, just before any worries, he just has skin color pants, okay? He is wearing pants. It's important that we have that clear from the beginning. So, Jerry realizes that he's done some things wrong, and he's sinned. And God has made him aware of his sin. I mean, wouldn't it be terrible if we didn't even know that we were doing bad things? And he wants to be free. But these sins are kind of like, you remember in those images, there were the weight of sin that was put in those pictures. So Jesus took it on when he was on the cross. So these sins are things where Jerry realized he's committed all of these sins. But he knows that Jesus hung on the cross to take away all of his sins. And that wasn't just back then, it was for the past, for the present, and for the future. and he took it to the grave with him. So Jerry wants to be close to what Jesus went through in his death, because he wants to be part of the resurrection as well. And so what we believe happens is he goes into the water, because it talks about in 2 Corinthians 5:17, when we're in Christ, we are a new creation. Jerry is fundamentally different now to how he was before. He's had his guilt removed, he's had his sin removed, but also he's now making a decision to keep Jesus as king in his life. Now, if you were Jerry and you had become a new creation and you realized all of the bad things that you did have been removed, how would you feel? If you were Jerry and you realize you've got all this weight of bad things that you've done, and then you've been set free, how would you feel, kids? Free. Okay, you feel free. Have you ever been so dirty, like, I just want to get clean? Like, if you come out of a really salty water and it feels like your skin is crusted. You ever felt that dirty? No? Oh, man. You haven't lived. But sometimes you just get fresh. It's like, I feel so free now and clean, yeah? If you were suddenly set free, how would you show how you felt? What would you want to do? Dance? Yeah, I would want to dance. Want to shout? Yeah? Have a bit of a party? Yeah? Well, we want to have a bit of a party for our friends that are getting baptized today, because they are becoming new creations by the power of what Jesus has done. So we're going to let our hair down a little bit and have a bit of fun. Because when you become a new creation, it means that you think differently as well. And did you hear when Alicia was saying she wants to be able to keep God in charge every day? I once heard someone explain to me, when they were a rugby player, and when they got home from playing rugby, they were covered in mud, and their kids with sticky, dirty fingers would run up to them, and they wouldn't care. They'd embrace them. It wouldn't be a problem to them, because they thought, I'm already dirty. It doesn't matter if I get any dirtier. But when we're washed clean, we have a different reaction to dirt. It's like, oh, no. I'm clean. I don't want to get mixed up with the dirt. I'm believing when our people that are being baptized, they will have a different attitude towards dirt, thinking, I'm clean. It makes a difference now. I'm clean. God's made me clean. I don't live under under sin anymore. And so they want to avoid it. They want to please God and keep him in command. Okay. So let's see some baptisms, eh?
Thank you for listening to this podcast by LifeLine Church. We hope this message has been an encouragement to you. We are a relational church who live to demonstrate God's love to one another and our surrounding community in real and practical ways. We believe that this love can restore our families, our friendships, our communities, and our nation. We'd love to connect further with you, so please visit our website, lifelinechurch.co.uk, or interact with us on Facebook at lifeline.church.uk.